going to be a short one. We're up here in Denmark. We've got the Windsurfing Masterclass crew for our Danish Masterclass.
Yeah!
Today we had some exercises, some yoga, some medicine ball exercises, and some board tuning. Tomorrow the wind shows up, so we've got some theory in the morning, and then we're gonna get on the water. The next few days look like they'll have wind, and hopefully we'll have something to report by next weekend. I'm gonna do a short stream today. I'm gonna get back to the group. There was a question though about competition prep, and so I want to say a few things about competing. So if you're planning to compete, here are some things that can help you. The first is it's really important to be comfortable on big gear. Wave sailing competitions are often done in light conditions, tricky conditions. You want to have a big board that you're comfortable riding and is not something that you're trying to get away from. One of the mistakes I see amateurs make is they have that big board, but they're not comfortable riding it. And so, instead of taking their 105, they make a mental excuse why it's okay to take their 88, but then it's too small, they're not catching the waves, and it's not working. So you want to make sure that you have a board and sail combination for light wind that you like. And how do you learn to like something like that? Well, the first is practice, and the second is testing. You want to make sure that you have your fin set up, your foot strap set up, your mast base set up, all of that dialed in before the event, and then getting comfortable on the gear. You want to be comfortable on whatever your big sail is. Maybe it's a 5.5, maybe it's a 5.8, and your big board, whether it's an 88, a 95, 105, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you're comfortable, and it's something you look forward to riding, because it's not enough just to have the gear if then you're making excuses to yourself why you should be on the smaller gear because, you'll perform better on it. You want to be confident in your performance on the big gear, and that will allow you to catch the right waves, which leads us into the second point. Wave sailing competition is so much about wave selection. It's really a lot about wave selection. It's about wave height. Now, every competition is going to be different, so you want to talk with the head judge. You want to go to the skippers meetings and ask questions about how they're scoring waves. But in the competitions that I've done on the PWA, wave selection is really important. And it's doubly important because one, bigger waves get higher scores. Two, so bigger waves, bigger score. Two, bigger, better, longer waves allow you to do more with them. So you can do better maneuvers, you can do more maneuvers. The wave is offering more. So your mission for the average wave sailing heat is to catch the two best waves. That's it. That is your objective. Now, things get different. If there's jumping involved, then you have to fit that in. You have to balance how you're doing your wave hunting with your jumping. Often it's a good strategy to get your jump in first because you want to jump upwind normally, keep your ground. Whereas if you're hunting for waves to ride, that can pull you downwind, and those two don't go well together. So it's a good strategy if you have jumps in the heat to get your jumps out of the way first, stay upwind, start your heat with a jump, and then once you have a jump in the bag, go for your wave rides. And in most contests, but again, ask your head judge, in most contests, if you're on a wave, when the horn goes, that wave will count. And so you want to aim to end your heat on a wave. When you're on the waves, don't try to do something for the first time. It's not about learning a new move in the event or doing something you've only done once before. Do what you can do. Do what you know how to do. So often I see amateur heats where if someone just went out and just did easy riding on the wave, they would pass the heat. But instead they're going for an aerial, even though they've never landed an aerial in their life, crashing, burning, and going out of the event and maybe losing to someone who is a worse sailor. And so if you don't want that to be you, focus on wave selection, focus on doing what you know how to do, and then building through the heat. And so that means, your first two waves, you're getting scores in the bank. You're aiming for fives. And then your next two waves, you're pushing it more. And so you're still not trying to do something you've never done before, but you're pushing the higher limit of what you can do. Now, this doesn't mean just take it easy. One of the other ways that you can win in a heat, because often the margins are very small, is you want to make sure that you're milking the most out of the situation. So that means you want to get as many turns out of the wave as you can. So if you can get 3 turns, that's going to be a lot better than a 2-turn wave. If you can do an extra turn on the whitewater, that might help your score by 0.5. If you can take off your hand in a turn, if that's something you're comfortable doing, that might help your score by 0.5. And all of these little incremental advantages add up and help you win heats. So really milk the most out of the waves, get the most out of it as you can, and put in the little flourishes where you can, whether it's one hand, whether it's whitewater turns, and those help accrue points. You want to be having fun as well. If you're not having fun, what's the point? So make sure that you're having a good time, make sure you're having fun. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, because the pressure is often detrimental and it doesn't help you sail better, it doesn't help you win heats. What else is useful? So something I used to tell myself, so when I was competing on the World Cup, before every heat, I would tell myself a little mantra saying that no single heat matters, no single heat is going to make a big difference. In my life, it's the accumulation of the heat, so there's no a huge amount of pressure on one heat. The heat is mainly just about catching the 2 best waves. 3, it's not about learning new things, it's about doing what I already know how to do. And then 4, it's about breathing. And this is really important. It's really easy to hold your breath or have jerky breathing. You want to have regular, fluid, deep breaths. Make sure you're getting oxygen, and that will help you focus, stay calm, and stay in the rhythm of the waves. Because if you're doing a lot of little shallow breaths or holding your breath, not only is that more difficult for your body, I think it makes it harder to stay in the rhythm of the waves. Your sense of time is different, so you start rushing into other waves that maybe you shouldn't be riding. So those are the first tips that come to mind. I'll try to think of some other ones and post the group. See, we've got some people in the chat. We've got Tomas, Axel, Max. Axel, here's your group. Say hi. We miss you, Axel. This is the group that Axel normally comes to. We've got 2 Axels in the chat. And one of them just had a great session on the Baltic Sea, so awesome. Max has some wind coming, it seems like. Awesome. And with that, I am going to sign off. I'm going to get back to the group. I will see you next week, Sunday. Post your questions in the group. I want to hear about what you're working on. It sounds like some of you guys have wind, some of you don't. Either way, I want to hear, if you have wind, what are the challenges? What are the successes? What are the questions? And if you don't have wind, what are you doing instead? What are you watching? What are you doing in your windsurfing life to keep the gears lubricated? All right, with that, I'm going to sign off. Wish us a windy week. I wish you a windy week. See you next week, Sunday. Bye.